Welcome to the FOMO show about TV technologies and home theater news. Today's headline is a peek into a grim and dystopian future for TV owners. We're talking about Walmart acquiring Vizio for $2 billion. What does this mean for the entire TV industry? A match made in heaven for Vizio or hell for the consumers? Oh no, there's a lot to unpack here. Speaking of dark times, in response to all the complaints about Samsung using AI to sharpen pictures of the moon on their latest smartphones, guess what? This same AI neural network technology is probably being used on the flagship 2024 Samsung 8K QN900D. What does that mean for your TV watching experience? And Sony does have something to say about its 2024 TV lineup, even if it's only an official registration in Asia. We have the names, model numbers, and sizes. Let's talk about all of this on today's FOMO show. Today's video is brought to you by WhoKeys. Trying to build a PC on a budget but don't know where to buy your Windows software cheaply? WhoKeys to the rescue. Use my coupon code SF20 and immediate discount with a free upgrade to Windows 11. At the bottom of this order where it says code card, to the right is the product key you need to activate Windows. So copy this long number, then go to the Windows menu and click on Settings. In the Settings menu at the bottom, select Update and Security. Select Activation, then select Change Product Key, paste what you copied from WhoKeys, click Next, click Activate, and you're done. You can buy Windows 11 Pro or Office 2019 Pro with my discount code SF20. Yes, I've been using WhoKeys for the last several years on my own PC builds, and it just works. Beginning with Walmart buying Vizio. So Walmart is the master of ad placement and impulse buying, while Vizio is the master of ad-driven TVs. Those two combined, what can go wrong? So let's look at some of the details, right? The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Walmart is offering about $2 billion to buy all of Vizio, and Vizio's market cap at the time of the offer was around $1.54 billion. That is a huge premium over its current value, the market cap. And what that tells me is, first, for sure, Walmart is not buying TV technology from Vizio. As we know, Vizio has abandoned the race to make the best TV years ago. P-Quantum X was its last attempt, failed miserably, and so after that they just focused on selling relatively cheap, relatively affordable TVs, pushing their ad placement ad platform, right? And the SmartCast platform, and that huge money. This is where they made all their revenues, is selling ads on that platform, and Walmart sees that, so they're definitely buying Vizio for access to what? To you, the consumer. You are the asset. It's the eyeballs, right? The people buying Vizio TVs, who keeps it plugged in. These people keep the TVs plugged into the internet. That gives an audience, a captive audience to Walmart. And Walmart makes a lot of money right now just selling ads on its various properties. For example, let's take a look at the Walmart website and you'll see what I'm talking about. Just scrolling down Walmart, you see, oh look, Vizio TVs, Dyson vacuums, H&R Block tax prep, Croc slippers, Renpho air filter, and so on and so on. These brands on their website, they're paying a bit of money. So is this what your 2025 Vizio is going to look like when you're scrolling to look for Netflix, right? Before you get to Netflix or Apple Plus or Prime, you're going to find a bunch of ads for cereal, diapers, shoes, and garden supplies. But let me offer some balance besides a cynical take. So the pros. I'm seeing more affordable TVs. So I'm hoping more affordable TVs, because think about it. If these ads that Walmart is placing results in a lot of sales and so forth, their ad revenue is going to go through the roof. That means they want to sell more of these TVs. So what if you can get a $1,000 98-inch or 100-inch TV, a 100-inch Vizio TV for $1,000, because most of the cost of that TV is being subsidized by ads. That's the pro. The con is, well, you lose a little bit of privacy because they're going to track your viewing habits. For example, if the TV notices that you're watching a lot of kids shows, oh, Well, a lot of kids in this family, let's start promoting cereal, right? Suddenly, Trix and the Leprechaun cereal, all that other Kellogg's, right? Suddenly they know you have kids in the family, they're going to start promoting brands that they're going to sell either to you to buy for your kids or directly to the kids themselves, because that's what Walmart is looking at. And this is going to change the TV industry because Samsung, Sony, all the other TV makers like, wait, if the value of Vizio is strongly attached to its ad platform, there's some value to this. We need to push this ad platform with our own TVs. So Samsung, LG, Sony, TCL, Hisense, right? You guys are no longer buying TVs based on quality. I think the image quality, as I've said before, good enough for most people. Well, most people is where they want to hit. They're not talking about the enthusiasts, like the top 5% of TV buyers who buy only the best based on research. The other 95% are buying based on budget, size, does it look good enough in a giant Costco showroom, right? And if that all hits the mark, they'll just buy the TV. This is what Sony, Samsung, Hisense, TCL will be looking at. Wait, we'll have the good TVs for the small population, people who watch me, right? But for everyone else, we're going to drive ads hard so we can lower the price of the TVs. Now, overall, I think it's maybe a worthy compromise, because if you can get bigger, better TVs into your room, why not, right? I mean, you could always unplug the TV, but then again, it wouldn't surprise me if once the TV is unplugged from the internet, nothing works. Now, speaking of getting used to something, how about getting used to AI improved images? And you see it all, right? Generative AI that creates amazing images out of thin air, or improving existing images into something that may be better or maybe more fitting to what the occasion demands or what the user demands. And in this case, Samsung has been doing it with its Ultra series of phones. And we're talking about when you take a picture of the moon, Samsung knows what the moon looks like, right? It has a database of different moon angles, different moon shots, and they will fill in the missing data points because your phone still isn't capturing it to its best resolution because it's so far away, maybe the clouds are in the way, whatever. So Samsung will fill in those missing blocks with real images of the moon that they know is real. So ultimately, you want a picture of the moon. Samsung knows what the moon looks like, and they fill in those gaps. This technology uses a neural network that's connected to an existing database of images that they already know. And for a TV, what does that mean? So this is a cynical me talking here. Let's say you have a TV image, right? And it's lower bit rate, lower resolution, right? And maybe the background or some of the details are a bit fuzzy, a bit soft. But if it's something that the TV already has access to as far as they know what it should look like. So text is the best one. So say street signs are not clear because it's only 480p. Well, they could clean that up and suddenly you have clear street signs. Now, where the issue comes about, and we talked to Samsung about this, is the creator intends the background, right? Shallow depth of field. So you're in focus, the background is supposed to be out of focus. Well, the TV is supposed to recognize that, right? They know, okay, that background, that shallow background depth of field is supposed to be out of focus. They're not going to suddenly make it in focus. But wouldn't it be fun if everything in the background was suddenly in focus because the TV can do it? I mean, if you're going to have AI, might as well have fun with it. And I suspect things like that will be happening because when we saw an example of this, Umbrella Academy, where you had all these books laying about, and you can really read the text very clearly because it was, I guess, 720p or 1080p, very soft. Well, that was before. And then after, with the AI enabled, wow, I can read all the text, right? And I'm thinking, did the creator intend for the text not to be legible? Does the TV know that? Imagine Tom Cruise, where he's supposed to be old, and then suddenly TV's like, those wrinkles, not pleasant, let's clean up. We know what Tom Cruise is supposed to look like, and you want him to look like a 25-year-old again, right? So boom, right? 80-year-old Tom Cruise looks like a 25-year-old because they cleaned up his face. Or, the Grand Canyon, shouldn't it be greener? Let's make the Grand Canyon a bit greener than it should be. So at the end, it's no longer creator's intent, but rather, if AI can improve the creator's image, because the creator's image possibly was somehow reduced, made worse by low bitrate, bad internet connection, or low resolution, the AI can kind of make it better. And so this is an interesting debate because on the one hand, if you're watching a 4K Blu-ray disc, right, the highest quality, AI shouldn't be involved at all. Gotcha. But what if you're streaming content where it's a little bit rough, right? Lower resolution, lower bitrate, and the TV still has to fill in the blanks? What if they do too good of a job and it comes out a completely different image in terms of the clarity, the details, because no one knows what the image is supposed to be. There's that much information missing. They're just adding the additional resolution. I think that's going to be fun because ultimately, without AI, that image wouldn't look good anyway. But now it's sharper, it's clearer. You see people in the background that you're not supposed to see, and now you see them like, wow. But if you compare it to the original film footage, maybe it's not even the same people. So the AI is just filling it random people, right? This is the potential of AI upscaling. Not to say that the Samsung 900D will do that, but you never know. I need to test this. Next up is LG giving us a sobering reminder of what could have been. Specifically in this Flat Panels HD article near the bottom, it says that bad news is the 8.6G IT production line will reportedly be set up in an LG Display's P10 factory in Paju, South Korea. Now, this factory in Paju, South Korea was supposed to be LG Display's most advanced OLED manufacturing plant, and this P10 facility was originally built to produce supersized, cheaper OLED TV panels on the 10.5G production lines, but the slump in TV sales following COVID-19 has forced LG Display to delay the investment. Plans for 8.6G for IT OLED panels are now being prioritized. Ouch. Well, big ouch for TV fans hoping to see affordable 97-inch, 88-inch OLEDs, right? 77-inch OLEDs. These larger OLEDs are not cheap. 77-inch LG C3, over $2,000, way over $2,000, right? The 83-inch, almost $4,000. Now, the slump forced LG Display to say, wait, people aren't buying larger OLED panels, or maybe they're not interested. Let's focus on PC monitors and so forth. And I think that's the right decision in terms of people buying affordable OLED monitors. But I kind of feel sad that they abandoned the plans to make affordable OLED TVs that are 83 inches or larger, because right now, 98-inch, 100-inch, 110-inch LCD TVs priced probably below an 83-inch OLED. And the question is, was there a TV slump to begin with that forced LG Display's hand? So I think it's more specific than that. It's not so much that there was a TV display slump or a TV slump market-wide. It was an OLED TV slump because during the pandemic, OLED TV sales through the roof, right? And then the year following, it crashed. And it hasn't really recovered since. And LG Display is thinking, wait, no one's buying OLED TVs anymore like we thought they would. I mean, the projections after or during the pandemic was like, if these people are buying these many OLEDs, imagine what we can do with larger OLEDs, right? The dreams of selling big OLED TVs came crashing down when the next 2 years showed that people were no longer buying OLED TVs, but instead buying larger LCD TVs. So maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense, because if LG Display doesn't invest in less expensive large OLEDs, consumers will just go with the less expensive large LCD displays. It's a chicken and an egg. We'll never know, because it appears that LG Display is now committed to just selling whatever OLEDs they can at the current sizes up to 77-inch. 83-inch will still be expensive. 97-inch will be prohibitively expensive. And if you want to go larger than 83, you got to go LCD TV, period. Because 97-inch for 24,000 or whatever, that's just crazy. But even 65 inches, I think, is being threatened because the LG C3 65-inch TV around 1,600. Oops, President's Day price drop to under 1,500. But how does the LG C3 65-inch compare to the Sony X90L or the Hisense U8K that's only 1,200, both 75 inches? Most consumers will choose the largest Sony because on a display at Best Buy or Costco, in retail mode, the Sony looks great. It's in a bright room. That bright, extra brightness from the Sony is going to pop. And of course, the LG C3 will be in its vibrant, vivid mode. Either way, the 75-inch Sony will look very similar, but it'll be larger. Similar price. People go, well, let me get the 75-inch Sony, because the X90L for the first time looks really good, very competitive with mini LED TVs, which means it's also very competitive against OLED TVs. Now, critical movie watching, I know in a dark room, infinite contrast will take over, but most consumers are not comparing the two TVs side by side in a dark room. So I'm beginning to wonder what kind of future OLED has unless it starts reducing its prices. We talked about Vizio, we talked about Samsung, we talked about LG. What about Sony? Sony has officially leaked themselves their 2024 lineup. We're talking about the XR90 and the XR70. Suspiciously missing and skipped is XR80, but regardless, XR90 starts at 65 inches, 75, and 85. That tells me that the XR90 is most likely the successor to the X95L, which also started at 65, 75, 85. This is probably their premium TV. Now, what we don't know is whether this TV is the 4,000 nit mini LED flagship we've heard about, or is it a step below? But at least we know that this model is their higher tier, limited to 3 sizes, and one tier down is the XR70 that does start at the 55-inch size. I'm hoping that the XR80 appears because, well, it's got to be an XR80, right? I mean, you can't start with a 70. Maybe it's odd numbers only this year. So the XR70 is being speculated as the successor to the last year's very amazing X90L. So the X90L, great entry-level TV. It doesn't have mini LED, but didn't need it. I think it was great as is. So if the XR70 is that successor, there's room for an XR80. And of course, you have the XR90. Now, if the XR90 is that 4,000 nit flagship we've heard about, then definitely there should be something between the XR90 and the XR70, which would leave space for the XR80, right? Because that's quite a jump going from a X90L type performance, boom, straight up to the very expensive flagship 4,000 nit XR90, if that is the flagship. I think the XR90 is probably going to be the flagship 4,000 nit model, but this is why it's so fun speculating, right? Until next time, stop the FOMO.